This person was hoping to have caught a fish on video, but instead they've caught a different creature altogether.
Bats for days. Look, he's right there. Dude, he flew right in my face.
A bat is caught on camera flying, almost going into his mouth, and you can hear him spit in disgust.
Look, he's right there. Dude, he flew right in my face.
This creepy bat encounter is beyond creepy, but it should be really alarming for two main reasons. One, a bat should be able to avoid people in wide open spaces with no problem, so this one was probably targeting him on purpose. Two, bats are nocturnal, so having one aggressively fly at you in the middle of the day could mean it has rabies. In other words, definitely not something you'd want to come in close contact with, especially not your open mouth. I really hope they're okay. A visit to the doctor's room for a quick medical checkup might be in order just to make sure. Fishing is supposed to be a relaxing pastime. Kick back with your pole and a cold one, and you're set for a pleasant afternoon spent out on the water. But this video, posted on Reddit by Caesar4321, reveals that fishing can sometimes take an unexpected turn. The clip shows a lucky fisherman reeling in his prize catch, a nice little fish which he pulls out onto the banks of the pond in order to remove it from the line. But as he steps closer to his catch, something pops up out of nowhere. Bet you didn't see that coming. Redditor iMoosker commented, "They are fishing in literal croc swamps, like they aren't asking for chomps." Asking for it or not, alligator incidents are on the rise in Florida. Moral of the story? Don't disturb those muddy waters, or your bones may be snapped in half by some seriously powerful jaws. A series of unfortunate events leads us to no answers in this video. The security footage was taken in September of 2015 at around 1 in the morning. The footage appears to be taken outside a shop after some heavy rain. Two men are standing outside, one on the pavement, one at the door. After a moment, something grabs the man standing on the pavement. Water is splashing around like the incident is happening in a puddle. The man falls to the ground and the other man near the door attempts to come to his aid, grabbing his arms. He is pushed back though and runs off toward the door to get help. The man continues to fend off the invisible force before being dragged out of sight. The man returns from inside, looking as though he's on the phone. He searches around for the man and walks toward the water. Then a large figure comes flying at him. It's not clear if it's the man returning to safety or something else. In slow motion, it looks like it's crawling on all fours. It chases the man inside, knocking the door on the way in. A moment later, a mysterious figure in a black cloak exits the building. What is happening here? Who grabbed that man? What gave chase into the building? And who is this cloaked figure? Unfortunately, we are left with no answers, only questions. During a mid-morning flight from Canada over the Appalachian Mountains in October of 2010, this passenger captured something mysterious from the air. Watch carefully. Can you see the reflections of light in the clouds? There also appears to be a disc-like shape that emerges from the clouds at the lower half of the screen. Watch again closely. Is this a genuine, unidentified flying object caught on camera? If not, what do you think this could possibly be? These residents captured an actual witch on camera hovering right in their driveway, shared by YouTuber Madisy ENT. The footage was taken at around 3 in the morning. Watch closely above the vehicle.
Baby. Baby, come on, see. Baby, baby. Babe. See. It's on me. Come on, see.
What's that?
Baby.
The mysterious being drifts for a moment, and all you can see is its glowing eyes and wild hair, and then it does this. Whether this was a witch or not, I think it was important to run away. My advice to this YouTuber would be to put as much space between you and this thing as possible. Is this the trail of a ghost? Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit. Jen the Heb explains, my dad took a video of a helium balloon floating around the house to scare my kids, but captured something else. The video shows the helium balloon in question drifting in the corner of the room. As it floats there, suddenly a white, unidentifiable object flies forward and another swings past. According to Jen the Heb, her father didn't see the wisp until he watched the video back. Redditor Mr. Blistered Lips writes, if not paranormal, I'd suggest a flash from reflected sunlight off of a car outside hitting the lens, but the Redditor counters that, according to her, the back deck looks over a conservation area where no cars pass. While some viewers still insist it's a reflection, others think something is definitely moving in front of the camera. But is it paranormal? What is your wild guess? Personally, I'm going with the first option. My Dark Journal is a collection of abstract videos that many people are certain contain hidden messages and deeper meanings, perhaps even clues about a woman who lost her life. The latest video, simply called Wither, starts off with a snowy lamppost and ends with a strange woman walking down the stairs. In the description is a link to a video on a completely different YouTube channel. This video, called Whisper, has images of evil looking building schematics and what appears to be some type of old language. I don't expect anyone to really be able to translate the words on that last page, but I'm hoping that someone can. Anyway, in the description box of the Whisper video is a link to yet another video on a YouTube channel called The Oracle of Lies. This third and final video is called Wayne. It shows an old desolate road and more weird imagery, including the same mysterious woman from the first video, Wither. I'm not sure if there are any hidden messages in any of these videos, but there certainly could be. No fourth video is linked, and the odd trifecta ends there. This could be a simple art montage, or it could be the real thing, maybe even something from the depths of the dark web. If you are able to make sense of any of these videos, even just a single part, then please let me know what it all means. Mustafa Sven is one of the very few brave paranormal exploration channels from Iraq, and he is definitely one of the best. Let's check out a 24-hour challenge he took at a scary haunted abandoned house that he's always been afraid to go exploring. It isn't long until paranormal entities come wailing for him, and all of the creepiness is caught on video with 2 different cameras. It starts with little things that are quite weird, like a shadow moving strangely in the hall behind him. I mean, yeah, I guess it could just be his hand, but the shadow doesn't exactly follow his movements, and I don't know, the angles just don't match up. Then, shortly after the spooky shadow passes by, more weird things are caught on camera. The backpack is actually very well balanced and should not tip over, and it bothers him that it does. He tries to recreate the situation and cannot. Scary noises aside, the backpack is far from the only object caught on camera moving by itself on this haunted night. A stone silently dislodges from the mantelpiece and crashes to the ground, followed by another one. The poltergeist is pulling this house apart brick by brick, willing to do whatever it takes to scare this ghost hunter away. A padlock bounces on its own like a ghost is trying to open the door. Watch closely and tell me if you think this is a poltergeist or someone on the other end of the door poking through the crack with a stick. But just when I was beginning to think this video might not be paranormal, it becomes one of the creepiest videos I've seen in a long time. A rising wail of spirits closing in makes him realize this 24-hour challenge needs to be cut about 20 hours short, and so he finally leaves. This was captured on video surveillance. 4 men wearing hoodies and scarves with some holding screwdrivers busted in the front door. The men at first were seen approaching the door, where they immediately realized they were on camera, but proceeded to take turns running at the door after finding it locked. 2 women, 21 years old and 25 years old at the time, were inside the home but were unharmed. 1,000 euros in coins intended for charity were taken from the home. The elder victim told reporters they were aware that we were in the house as we had shouted back to let them know, but they didn't care and kicked in the door. We were shouting but they didn't stop. The 2 women fled through the garage where they faced 2 other men. They escaped, and one of them managed to call the police, while a neighbor heard the commotion and brought the women inside to safety. The men got away, and police later closed the investigation as none of the suspects were identifiable. The Metropolitan Police spokeswoman stated, "The case has been closed due to all available avenues of inquiry having been exhausted. So much for justice being served." 30-year-old Alexa was returning to her Bronx home in University Heights when she got that feeling in the pit of her stomach. She detailed what happened to her in a Twitter thread in September of 2018, noting that she wrote the thread to warn women in her neighborhood to be aware that this person is out there. Alexa said she was returning home by Uber at 3:50 a.m., heading to the lobby of her building, when she got a strange feeling that she wasn't alone, as she suspected, and the building security footage confirmed she wasn't. A man had followed her through the courtyard outside and quickened his pace to enter the lobby right behind her. Alexa notes in the thread that she didn't see or hear the man watching her. When she was in the lobby, she realized there was a figure hovering outside the front door, waiting in the first entryway. She decided to double check the door locked behind her. She turned to the door to shut and lock it and noticed he had his foot on the corner, ensuring the door didn't close after she entered. She knows that the man likely intended to confront her outside the building, which is why he didn't enter the lobby all the way, or he was waiting for her to head toward her apartment so he could run after her and force his way in. Don't worry, he didn't have a chance. Alexa shut the door, moving his foot out of the way to do so. Unfortunately, the suspect had a scarf wrapped around his face to ensure he wouldn't be identified by security cameras. She notes that drivers should always wait until their passengers reach their front doors safely. In her case, the Uber driver left when she got out of the vehicle. Alexa also remarks that, without the security footage to back her claim, her story would undoubtedly have been questioned and disbelieved. These stories should always be listened to and heard, and above all, as Alexa did, always trust your gut. Never in a million years should you cross this bridge. Posted to TikTok by Real Horror Talk, a man on a motorcycle enters onto a narrow wooden bridge crossing a wide and fast moving river. There are no railings. Let's watch. As he rides steadily across, he looks to his right and then to his left. The water is flowing rapidly past. He continues on as if he does this every day, and maybe he does. Those in the comments say when he looked left, they fell in the water. Others say it's like a terrible dream, but TikToker Trust Me has a more accurate reading. He writes, "How my parents got to school. I think we've all been there. Are we being possessed by shadowy forces without even knowing it?" Posted on blah blah's channel in January of 2022. This scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. The footage shows a woman walking a dirt path along a hillside overlooking a city. She is carrying a bag and she's alone. As the cameraman follows a short way behind, a mysterious and barely visible dark figure comes toward the woman on the path. The shadow figure runs right at the woman, but she doesn't notice it and continues on her way. Did the spirit possess her? Well, this captured our imaginations. As it turns out, after doing some research, I found the video is VFX produced by YouTuber Dark3. Still, the image will prompt you to look over your shoulder the next time you think you're alone. You never know what's behind you until it's too late. Avery is almost 2 years old. He's happily babbling away in the kitchen when his mother starts to feel a strange presence. This has happened a few times before, so she decides to start recording. Normally, her child is very quiet, but every once in a while, he will become very active and start having a conversation with someone who neither of his parents could see.
Who are you talking to?
Avery's mother finds this behavior very perplexing, so she starts to ask him over and over who he is talking to. Finally, after the third or fourth time, she gets a sinister reply.
Who are you talking to?
Her child looks over his shoulder, almost as if someone is there. When he turns his back to her, a raspy voice says, "Ryan." Listen again with the sound up if you don't hear it. I guess this voice could be coming from Avery, but it sounds like it's coming from someplace much closer, almost right next to the camera. It almost sounds like a slightly different voice than Avery's. Maybe Ryan is a ghostly pal who is looking to make a new friend. An older brother is trying to show his younger sibling that Bloody Mary is not real. Now the two of them are alone in the bathroom to test this theory out. They say her name 3 times in the dark, and when they turn the lights back on, they mistakenly think they are safe.
Open, move. See, it's all over. See, nothing's gonna happen.
A YouTuber named Snakebit McGee makes a vlog in which he talks about 2 scary discoveries he made while exploring the desert.
And there's a hole here that just goes way down. I'll show you that. And then it gets kind of scary. I'm looking for a cave, and something about that cave just spooked me out of all the caves I've ever gone in.
He just found an abandoned mine, but what he really wants to find is an M-shaped cave that scared him before. His subscribers are interested and tell him he needs to go back and find the cave to make another video and maybe go exploring the abandoned mine too while he's at it. He agrees and goes out a second time to find the cave, but sadly never returns. His body is never found and nobody knows what happened to him. Watching this video while knowing he's still missing makes this even more eerie, especially this part.
I'll just show you. Down inside that hole, it goes way, way, way down there. Let me see if I can. That's pretty far.
It's scary to think that he's joking about something that might have seriously happened to him much later upon his second return. To this day, nobody knows what happened to him. Most people run away from monsters, but these 2 friends seem to be chasing one down. The creature looks to be very wide and is either covered in matted black fur or wearing huge black robes. I can't exactly tell which one. What I do notice are the impossibly large feet, and even though it's kind of hard to see, towards the end of this clip I can barely make out a gigantic white hand that is almost the size of its entire body. The creature's proportions make absolutely no sense, and when it turns around to defend itself against them, the front looks even more horrifying. Look again and you'll see the creature has a giant gray face that is twisted and warped beyond recognition. This still frame shows what I am talking about. Let me highlight the two eyes and open mouth so you can see it better. And of course, its oversized, gnarled hand is reaching out for them both. This footage was taken after hours by a staff member on a college campus in North Yorkshire. It was shot through a classroom window and shows the outline of a person attentively studying at a computer, seemingly without knowing that they were being filmed. The only problem is that no one else should have been in the building at the time. The video could be CGI, or it could be the actual weightless black mass of a real ghost. According to NASA, the Apollo 20 spaceship never left the ground due to a lack of funding. This leaked video, however, says otherwise. Apparently, the mission was covered up after this strange structure was found on the surface of the moon. The leaked video is now referenced to as a moon base. Look closely and you'll see what appears to be an entrance ramp leading directly into the structure itself. It almost looks like some kind of vehicle is halfway up. Let me know if you see the supposed entrance, and if you think that there is any possibility that this leaked video could be real. I think it is kind of a stretch, but I do see what they are talking about. The next time you gaze up into the serene night sky, you might experience a feeling of panic instead of peace. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by After Performance 2. The Redditor explains that these strange lights were seen in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina last year on July 19th. The lights were grouped in threes, and according to the Redditor, some disappeared before she could capture them on video. The video shows a trio of lights floating overhead in the sky, and a moment later, another trio closer to the horizon off in the distance. The sets of lights don't float in strict formation, but seem to each be wavering at their own pace. They then flicker and disappear. Redditor Professional Truck 3 suggests that these were paper lanterns lit and then launched from the beach, but the 70s Kids negates that, saying if these were lanterns, they'd drift apart. Well, some say the wind is obviously taking the lanterns in the same direction. After Performance 2 theorizes that they're all going to the same destination. Another Redditor, Buster Blevins, chimes in proposing that this is not necessarily a unique occurrence. He wrote, "Last Friday, a bunch of people saw something very similar to this in northern Wisconsin. The lights would appear in groups of 3, and it was as if there was a pattern that looked like the light was traveling in a circle around something." Any other theories as to what these strange lights could be? Roosevelt High is a school in St. Louis, Missouri, rumored to have been built on top of an old graveyard long ago. Now, a paranormal investigator named Soul Searching stands by the bleachers of a football field with a spirit box to find out if people were buried here like the local legends say.
Are there any spirits here?
4 seconds later, this voice comes through with a strong reply. When asked how it feels, the same voice replies with a flat answer that lacks all emotion, which I guess underscores its bleak point.
Are you upset?
I'm showing this so you can hear for yourself that all of the answers make sense and they're all coming from the same voice, so I think this is real. The final answer pretty much confirms it.
Is your body still here?
But just to be sure, Soul Searching moves on to the school itself, where a spirit confirms its presence when asked to do so.
Oh, that was a yep.
Here's the only part I'm not so sure about.
Can you turn the lights on now? It wasn't on before.
Soul Searching thinks the lights are off, but I think they may have been on the whole time. It's hard to tell though, so I will give her the benefit of the doubt that the light came on by itself, especially given how much paranormal activity was on the football field earlier. A Ring camera caught yet another attempted intruder in the act. Actually, this time too. Published to YouTube in a Ring cam video by Full Moon Crazies in July of 2019, the surveillance camera was placed behind a lamp and captures a pair of thieves going into a home during the Christmas season. The thieves are partially hiding their faces with their hoodies, and they seem to spy the Ring camera right away as they look directly at it. After gathering some backpacks, likely filled with the taken goods, one of the intruders can be seen knocking the camera down to avoid its capturing further incriminating footage, but he didn't totally succeed. 2 more intruders are caught on camera entering the room from the hallway. The clip ends without further explanation. These intruders more than likely made off like bandits, but we can only hope this video evidence was enough to catch them. Either way, this cost them Christmas, as they were sure to end up on Santa's naughty list. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by SufficientFly3271. This Redditor wrote, "Can you feature this in one of your videos? My name is Brittany Keel. I live in Richmond, Vermont, and I hear these noises almost every night/morning. Finally got it on video, always around 2:30 in the morning. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about." There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Anarchy881 writes, "Dogman maybe?" While Dusty Stories wrote, "Don't know what we're supposed to be hearing besides tree frogs and birds, but whatever it was, my dog was very interested in what it was saying. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments. Who's hiding behind this mirror?" This short clip posted by TikToker Sion Wick prompts that question. Watch it snap this Pokemon card up. The TikToker writes, "We're waiting for it to trade us back." In the comments, Reed Hart points out the black fingers at the mirror's edge at the beginning of the clip. Take another look. They look more like spider legs than fingers to me, but if that's the case, this guy's got a mad strong spider on his hands. Mother Nature sometimes digs up monsters. That was the case during the 2011 tsunami in Japan. This scary video is proof that there are plenty of species in our oceans that we haven't yet met. The clip shows floodwaters tearing through the Japanese coast. Well, this is disturbing enough. Don't be distracted by all the debris. Instead, look closely at this waterway. What looks to be either translucent vapor or a big spout of water shoots up in the air like a geyser before vanishing like a ghost. Some are saying it is a ghost, while others think it's a propane tank discharging when its regulator was torn off. A few people think it may be marine life with highly effective camouflage skills. Where do you land in this debate? My guess is something paranormal. Dennis from Dark Ghost Paranormal is exploring this scary house with ghosts, and he's in for a real boo. While searching what looks like a storage area of the home, he falls to the ground. In fact, it looks like he breaks clean through the ground, and he does. The disturbance is captured from another room. A mysterious anomaly is seen in that same storage room. And that anomaly may be getting aggressive with him. But nothing is there, or so it seems. Just as he's decided to leave, he's confronted by the ghost again. One actually might think it's an earthquake, if not for the terrifying knowledge that this place is haunted. Later, he hears a whole lot of ruckus again and goes to investigate, when, behind him, there's a growl. What sort of beast is in here with Dennis? I don't think that's a ghost. Sounds more like a demon to me. This footage, published by Paranormal World in August of 2019, shows a scenic mountain and forest opposite an overpass. After completing a full 360 to take it all in, the camera falls to the cars whizzing past below before returning to the mountain. This time, the mountain isn't the only thing carving out the sky. A Godzilla-like creature peeks out from behind the mountain. At first, one might mistake it for the mountain itself, but it slowly begins to move, voiding that theory. While many in the comments say this is a good edit, some are more concerned by the man's reaction. YouTuber Dap writes, "If there is a Godzilla, you are running, not chewing gum." That's probably true, although other people note that the creature is friendly, so perhaps the cameraman had no need to fear him. Still, seeing a creature the size of a mountain would probably get your heart pumping. Friendly or not. Is your child seeing things, or is there something to her visions? Posted by Colin71514 to the Chills Narrators subreddit. This story and subsequent video will send chills down your spine. The Redditor explains that her story begins in December of 2018. The couple had bought their 4.5-year-old daughter a secondhand baby doll. Things were pretty normal until they weren't. After about 2 weeks, Colin's daughter started breaking things for no reason, thinking it was just a phase. The parents didn't worry too much about it. The daughter then started wanting to sleep in their room, saying a little girl kept waking her up at 3 in the morning. This went on for 2 months until her father got an uneasy feeling about the doll and decided to throw it in a dumpster far away. This brings us to the video in question. The daughter is seen in the room playing on her table on the bed. She moves off the bed shouting for her dad, then looks up at the window beyond and starts to scream. The Redditor says her daughter claims she saw an old woman in the window. Exterior cameras didn't capture anything near their home. Considering the Redditor herself and her husband experienced odd things in this home as well, perhaps this is more than just a child's imagination. In 2010, a man from South Jersey named Nick mysteriously went missing. His older brother Mark vanished shortly thereafter. Their small town was devastated by these back-to-back disappearances and feared the worst. There wasn't a shred of evidence for police to go off of, at least not until a few months later when one of Nick's high school acquaintances receives this mysterious post office package. Inside the package are memory cards and hard drives with hundreds of videos to analyze. Eerily enough, the return address was Nick's house, so either Nick sent this himself or someone else mailed it on his behalf well after his disappearance. Perhaps it was sent by whoever was responsible. A lot of the videos are typical teenage vlogging material you'd expect from 2010. Basic stuff like making a sandwich or watching TV. But on the other hand, there are at least 30 videos containing super creepy information relevant to his whereabouts, or should I say his possible remains. Let's retrace Nick's steps. On September 3rd, 2010, Nick goes to the notoriously haunted Pleasant Mill Cemetery in Batstow, Jersey to see what he can find. On the other side of an old bridge in the woods, he sees some 1800 burial markers and an old church that makes him feel creeped out. Though whatever he thinks he sees while standing on this bridge is what freaks him out the most. This is where voices are said to sometimes be heard on the water. Tell me if you see anything. I honestly can't say I see anything strange, but maybe something was there that didn't show up on camera. The video ends with him running back to his car looking very serious and scared, wide eyes and all, so he probably really did see something strange. He never wants to go back there again, but at sometimes the experience eats away at him until a week later on September 10th, when he goes back to settle his curiosity once and for all, this time with his friend Austin. Night has fallen by the time they arrive. There's not much activity by the old church, so they walk over to the river. They don't hear anything and aren't really that scared, so they challenge each other to sit in the darkness under the bridge. The very same bridge where Nick first saw something, mind you. And as soon as their lights go out, they make contact.
You hear that?
When they turn their lights on to see what's out there, they see this broad goblin-like face looking back at them, soon followed by a splash of water, like something jumping at them, or else reaching up from the depths below. Away they run and away it follows. I don't know what this thing is, but since they've disturbed its home twice now, it decides to return the favor. What you're about to witness happened on the very same night. Nick sees movement behind this curtain wall and thinks it has to be his older brother Mark. It certainly looks like someone's hands, and yet no one's there. Suddenly it grows very cold where he's standing, cold enough to see his own breath, which is odd considering it isn't cold enough to see his breath when he's outside looking for Mark. They really should have stopped going there, but on September 18th they try again. This time, after following these strange lights in the woods, they discover something they were never meant to have. This nondescript book has no title, but I want to know more about this strange binding. It looks like part of a protective ritual, or maybe even a curse upon whoever opens it without permission. Nick grabs it and they go get something to eat, and that's subsequently when they start getting followed even worse than ever before. By now, Nick and Austin have developed somewhat of an unhealthy obsession with the Pleasant Mill Cemetery. It scares them, but it also attracts them and they can't stop going. Maybe something there is enticing them to return. Something that wants its book back. And the more times they visit, the stronger its presence becomes at home.
What? Tired of this. Wait. What the?
When you look at the picture before it falls at 10 minutes and 28 seconds, I think it's a picture of Mark, the older brother who would soon disappear. On September 27th, Nick and Austin make a discovery that they seem to shrug off but I think is important. It's inside of an old house that they find not too far from the cemetery. The outside looks like it went ablaze a long time ago. Through a square hole in the floor, they spy an area that looks like it could have been a secret chamber when covered. They get a really bad feeling and don't want to go down, but Austin makes a simple observation that I think speaks volumes.
Oh, it smells. Alright, we're wasting time. We gotta go.
It could be mold, or it could be a body that hasn't been disturbed in quite some time. Things get really crazy after they discover the possible body. By November 2nd, Mark is gone and nobody knows where he went. Nick goes back to the cemetery to look for his brother, and this final recording is what he finds. A tall figure with an all-white face marches toward him, with a long tool in his hand. All I will say is that it looks like Nick sadly met the same fate as his brother. A YouTuber named the Ghost Metalhead 666 is filming an empty room in the castle of King Henry VIII when suddenly a visitor materializes before his very eyes. Look in the bottom left corner to see it. The YouTuber captures the translucent outline of a small child. You can see how the toddler starts out on the floor and unsteadily climbs to its feet. The head, arms, and legs are unmistakably human-like. If someone is any good with video editing, then let me know if this is fake or the real thing. Otherwise, as more than one person pointed out in the comments section, Henry VIII did have many stillborns during his reign as king, and this perhaps could be one of them. Things get scary on the open road. This is yet another case of a driver gone a little too ragey. The video is self-explanatory. The Mercedes driver gets out of his car, carrying a metal pole, but the driver is on his toes. Putting pedal to the metal, he speeds off-road and leaves the would-be assailant in the dust. In my opinion, it doesn't matter what little driving infraction happened in the lead-up to this scary incident. No one should spring from their vehicle with a metal pole with the intent of getting revenge. YouTuber Chuck's Paranormal Adventures posted this video in 2016 of the family dog Emily. In the description of the video, Chuck notes that Emily often stays in the kitchen, waiting for scraps of food without a worry in the world. But some days, she avoids some areas of the kitchen or won't even come in. Then, in Chuck's own words, on September 12th, as I sat down to have a snack in the kitchen, the dog was having one of those skittish moments, and I had my phone nearby so I could record it. Since I am a paranormal investigator, from time to time, we've had visitors in the house, not by invite I assure you, I believe looking for help in crossing over, but that is another story for another day. Chuck tosses the dog some food to eat, but Emily won't come near enough to the food to eat it. The chips remain on the floor, but Emily, looking around a chair, refuses to get them. However, when Chuck puts some chips in the dog's bowl, Emily eats them all up in a second. So it's clear that the dog loves chips. What's not so clear is why she's too afraid to go and get the ones set out for her on the floor as a special treat. Once she's finished the chips in the bowl, she starts walking towards those on the floor. She comes very near them, but then, as if frightened by something, backs away. She goes back to her dog bowl to see if there are any more, and then looks back at the floor chips, and then she backs away further. She even goes around to another door to the dining room and attempts to approach on the other side of the chips, but she can't convince herself to go anywhere near them. She sits in the hallway and re-enters through the other side. Then, as the owner approaches the very spot the dog won't approach, the phone's camera shuts off. Coincidence? Chuck wonders. Maybe, maybe not. The following day, Chuck records Emily visiting the same spot she'd avoided the day previously. She is no longer afraid to eat the chips there.
Same spot as yesterday. Okay, paused it a second to get some chips. And now there's the spot that was yesterday. I'm going to put the chips down and see, there's the dog in the spot where she refused to go to yesterday having the little chips.
So what's going on? Chuck wonders if the spirit of an old pet was guarding the chips, as Emily used to approach their old beagle in this same cautious manner. They also sometimes hear a dog collar clank in the middle of the night, which couldn't be Emily's since they remove it before bedtime. Whatever the case, here's hoping the spirit isn't something much more sinister. A paranormal YouTube channel known as Exploring Darkness goes on a two-person investigation that leaves them, in their words,
Really an exploring video.
What in the
What
world?
I said we're gonna call this an exploring video. Now I'm getting scared.
Whoa!
knowing what true evil feels like by the time they're through.
Is someone in here?
Here's the roof. Nope.
On reviewing the video evidence, the research team sees a hooded figure at 3 minutes 51 seconds. Paranormal or not, there's no doubt that this is the person responsible for making all of the noise. Freaky, right? A TikToker named Sydney Carpenter is convinced that her Snapchat filter is detecting not one, but 2 nearby faces. I don't think anything on this table or wall looks like a face, so I don't think it's a glitch. She tells it to stick its tongue out if it can hear her, and it does after a moment's hesitation. I don't think it's a coincidence, but watch this part for yourself and tell me.
Stick your tongues out if you can see me. Do it, babe. Yo, there's 2 of them.
Later on, it appears in a totally different place than last time. Like before, the Dalmatian appears to give the answer that yes, it is in fact up to no good.
Are you good? Are you bad?
She starts speaking to the remaining dog, and upon being asked if it was good, it disappears instantly.
Are you good? It disappeared.
Which I guess stands for no. There's just way too many strange interactions like this one that makes sense for me to ignore. These 2 scary videos were both captured in cemeteries. Published by Jesus Guadalajardo in June of 2018, a strange figure appears in the top corner of the footage early in the clip.
You got Easter eggs right there.
The figure seems to fly in and out of view very briefly, after which you can hear what sounds like high-pitched laughter.
Where?
Too creepy for me. In the second video, published by Ghost Adventures of Cornwall in May of 2021, Mark captures a bright greenish-yellow orb floating amongst the tombstones.
Whoa, thank you, spirits. Thank you. Thank you for showing yourself. Wow. That's amazing!
Mark is very encouraging of the orb as it appears and then leaves for a moment, only to appear again.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Look at that. He's showing himself. I feel it's a man.
One viewer in the comments says the color yellow is considered positive, so perhaps this is a good spirit. Are these spirits hanging around for their own reasons, or do they reappear to provide the living evidence of the afterlife? Do you believe in the paranormal? Are you paranoid someone's watching? Then the paranormal paranoids are here to guide you. Introducing your guides, Peter, Laura, David, and Riley. These videos were posted by the Twitter account Just the Paranoid. The first video is set in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. The crew enters a wooded area, and Riley explains why they're here. She says that to the locals, these woods are a setting for a sinister story.
To most people, this forest is the same as any, but to the people of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, who remember what occurred in 1994, these woods hold a sinister story.
In 1994, a young married couple crossed paths with a lifeless body along the path. Mary Talbert had sadly taken her own life, being that she did so on a very public path. The takeaway is that Mary wanted to be found. The group paused near the tree where it happened.
This is where it happened. It was almost as if she wanted to be found, wanted to be seen.
They pose for pictures and leave. While watching the footage back, they discovered a few things they hadn't noticed in person. Upon first entering the woods, a disembodied face appears in the trees.
I don't think it's there, Peter. Yeah.
Later, as they are leaving, the camera catches someone standing behind a tree, perhaps watching them, but the creepiest image comes as they're posing for pictures near Mary's tree. Lurking in the distance is a figure that looks as though it's wearing a cloak with something draped over its face.
Over here.
Okay.
All right, what are we doing?
Smiling, right?
Smile? Yeah. Okay.
Are you paranoid yet? If not, take a journey through Dark County Correctional Facility with the Paranormal Paranoid crew in their second video.
It all happened here, inside of these walls.
While they are wandering through, Peter is observing letters written on a window when they hear something in the next room.
What is that?
but they could find nothing there. They continue on, heading upstairs, where they discover a bunch of books open on a counter. They wander through the area where prisoners were kept in solitary confinement.
And the inmates that were brought here in the 1930s, they were maximum security.
Then up a narrow staircase and back to more prison cells.
Did you do that?
Wait, did you do that?
I didn't touch anything.
Riley is leading the way when suddenly she stops and her face is full of fear. She said she suddenly felt cold, and you can literally see her breath on video.
Oh, you feel what?
Cold. Holy shit. Riley, what? What?
According to the crew, the camera cut out and didn't record anything for a couple minutes. When it returns, they cast a light down one hall, which shows just how far and deep this well goes.
Look at this.
How far back does that go?
I have no idea.
That's pretty cool, yeah, sorry. So, get this shot.
And just how many prisoner stories it holds. One last tour by the Paranormal Paranoids see the crew at Lincoln Elementary, whose haunted halls have stories to tell.
So we made it. Lincoln Elementary. This school has an incredible haunted history, dating all the way back to 1976.
One morning in 1976, staff showed up to a filthy school. Although they called the janitor, there was no answer. Upon entering the janitor's closet to obtain cleaning supplies, they discovered the janitor passed away in horrific fashion. According to Riley, every bone in the janitor's body was broken, and his mop was shoved down his throat with just the strings hanging out. Ever since, the place has cycled through janitors, with no one staying long, as mysterious things kept happening. Rooms that had already been mysteriously cleaned, a solidly locked janitor's closet.
Is the legend true? David, what do you think?
I don't know.
They enter the school and for some reason head exactly where you wouldn't want to go, into the basement. That's when this happens. Though the bang terrifies them, they continue on, heading into what appears to be the boiler room. Something is clanging around. And then there's another big bang. As they panic, what they see next freaks them out even more. A quiet whistle alerts them to a figure with a white face and glowing eyes standing in a doorway.
Chill. Where did that come from? I don't know.
He shuts the door as they take off in fear up the stairs. Are the paranormal paranoids onto something? Whether or not they attract the paranormal, their paranoia seems more than justified. TikToker Kitty K38, also known as Paranormal Nightmares on YouTube, continues to capture paranormal encounters in her home. This appears to be home surveillance footage in their living room. In the left corner, there is a chair with two supposedly haunted dolls on it. Watch what happens when Jamie enters the room. Upon noticing the chair tilting backwards, Jamie grabs a piece of wood and waves it behind the chair to check for any strings. He cannot find any though. The chair finally returns back down and Jamie quickly exits the room. All this recorded evidence really aids to the legitimacy of this haunted house. What would you do if you lived in a house like this? I'd be sleeping with the lights on. A YouTuber named Snakebit McGee makes a vlog in which he talks about 2 scary discoveries he made while exploring the desert.
And there's a hole here that just goes way down. I'll show you that. And then it gets kind of scary. I'm looking for a cave, and something about that cave just spooked me out of all the caves I've ever gone in.
He just found an abandoned mine, but what he really wants to find is an M-shaped cave that scared him before. His subscribers are interested and tell him he needs to go back and find the cave to make another video and maybe go exploring the abandoned mine too while he's at it. He agrees and goes out a second time to find the cave, but sadly never returns. His body is never found and nobody knows what happened to him. Watching this video while knowing he's still missing makes this even more eerie, especially this part.
I'll just show you. Down inside that hole, it goes way, way, way down there. Let me see if I can. That's pretty far.
It's scary to think that he's joking about something that might have seriously happened to him much later upon his second return. To this day, nobody knows what happened to him. Erwin Saunders enchants us again with these captures of a folkloric woodland creature. Published in October of 2021, Erwin was searching for another creature when he caught this one unexpectedly near a small waterfall. The creature flits quickly into view, too fast to see clearly. It makes a reappearance again later, but it still moves too fast for the human eye.
Yeah.
Some in the comments note that in slow motion, the creature appeared to have a big head and bat-like wings. What is this thing? Is it truly a folkloric woodland creature? Because that appears to be the case. Give your haunted eyes a rub and take another look. Scary restaurant video was captured in a bar in Singapore late at night. First, a stool falls over, which I guess could just be a string, but their reaction seems realistic as they all question how this could happen. The entire time, none of them realize that they are being watched by the faint outline of a woman who does not move or make a noise. Maybe it's just me, but it almost looks like this woman's feet are off the ground and she is suspended in the air. Bloopers are more than just laughs. Published in October of 2012, What Is That 09 writes, I was recording my brother for his school project and he was looking back through the bloopers and then he noticed this thing. As the boy practices his speech, a dog on the couch behind him is playing with the blinds. Look closely over the boy's shoulder. A creepy creature appears in the darkness as the blinds open. The creature's bizarre face looks humanoid but somewhat extraterrestrial.
Go.
The biome we chose was the taiga border forest, which is located in Russia, northern Canada, and
It's peering in at them. What is this thing? The uploader notes, to where the thing's head was at, had to be 5 feet tall, because that's how high the window is. Is this creature stalking them? Or is it one of the boy's peers, trying to cheat on his school project? This group of friends decides to go into an old middle school that's rumored to be haunted. The building has only recently been abandoned, and it's still in relatively good condition, so there's not much to say until they come to one section of the school that's much darker and filled with mold. The group still feels safe in their large numbers down here, and they bravely trudge through a series of musty hallways. They don't see anything out of the ordinary, but when they put the video on YouTube later, somebody points out a possible shadow figure in the distance during this part in particular. I personally think that it could just be stacked debris, but then again, I can somewhat make out the faint outline of a shadow that's roughly the size of a child. The more I look at it, the more I can notice its legs and head in particular. Let me know if you agree, or if you think I'm looking into the situation too deeply. Everything Paranormal Show gets in on the scary Randonautica video craze, and goes randonauting with paranormal creepy stuff in mind.
Now, just to let you know, my intent was paranormal creepy.
The TikTok app takes him to a random address, and he waits for some creepy stuff to begin, which it most certainly does.
We've got, like I said, this dude's checking me out. I wanted something creepy. Yeah, this dude's just standing here, freaking staring at me.
Before he knows it, somebody is standing near his car. They're not moving, just staring him down. To be fair, what to him is a creepy man could just be someone wandering, who is in their parking space. But even when he leaves, the man is standing completely still, simultaneously staring at nothing in particular, and everything all at once.
This is not like your regular staircase. It's just not like where you can look directly all the way to the first floor.
A man knows his apartment building has a ghost in the stairwell.
It's a creepy place.
He nods politely at someone going downstairs. Time passes and then he notices something strange.
I haven't heard him exit though. That's the weird thing.
He saw someone enter, he heard them go down the steps, and yet they never leave. More weird sounds is the only response he gets. He seems like a different person in a video update 6 months later, much more cautious, like a lot has happened to him in the time since.
Creepy things have been happening here, and I know this place is definitely haunted.
This is where things get weird in a creepy way. The door he just came through is now open, and downstairs is a dark space that suddenly clears up.
What is that? I gotta look at that. That was a shadow figure.
When he goes to where the alleged shadow figure was, nothing's there. Here it is one more time, zoomed in at 22 seconds. I might see a small figure, but help me decide if it's paranormal or just my imagination. Will and Weston have been seeing a strange man walking around their house for a few days now, and they are determined to get it on camera so that people will finally believe them. This time, when it comes around again, the two split up and start recording.
What was that?
Whoa!
Weston captures the giant dark outline of a man and goes off running to find Will. They both seem more excited than scared, which is strange, but I guess that could be a normal reaction considering they have seen this person for days and have not been harmed. This could definitely be someone messing with them, but there's something about the overall pace of the video that seems real. Here's another picture that Will caught to further verify the story. Whoever it is, hopefully they stay in the woods and comes no closer to their home. A ghost keeps slamming this closet door according to Kevin Summer. It happened while doing housework, so he puts a camera on a shelf and waits. At 1 minute and 52 seconds, the whole closet is shown. It's a small area crammed with items and no one is hiding inside. This creepy event was scary enough to make him no longer want to live there and put the house up for sale, Kevin says. Do you believe this was paranormal? I think I might. A Saudi Arabian ghost hunter known as Explorer Abdullah Al-Anzi goes investigating a haunted mansion that has been abandoned for a long time. Strange paranormal activity begins in the courtyard. Decades of decay have worn this place into little more than roomfuls of rubble that he is determined to explore. As he is wondering how many floors this building has, he realizes he is far from alone. He's exploring the basement when he hears something in a commanding voice. If you know what was said, then fill us in too.
Huh? سمعتك مين أنت؟
He isn't sure where it's coming from, so he looks all around. Right before Abdullah turns around, something strange is caught on camera looking at him at 16 minutes and 23 seconds. A spirit or a creature with a single glowing eye. The voice is never heard again, so he thinks it's a jinn. Based on the paranormal evidence he's caught on camera, I think he's probably correct. In this house, you'll expect a jump scare around every corner. After experiencing paranormal events in his family home, this man decided to take some video to see if he could capture anything on camera. Let's take the haunted tour. What is happening here? He finds a flower on the stairs. He claims no one in the household knows where it came from. Is this knock a warning, as the YouTuber believes? Well, upstairs in the bedroom, it happens again. Something just threw the clothes from the wardrobe. If those knocks were a warning, I'd take the clothes as a clear message. This ghost wants you to leave. D-Menace is a YouTuber from the Ukraine who gets a thrill from exploring abandoned places. He's really pumped to see every level of this old factory because in his mind, the bigger the building, the better the adventure. But little does he know this urban exploration has already gone wrong in a scary way. The abandoned place has a lot of dead-end rooms, not to mention a creepy basement that fills him with unease. He can't even imagine who would ever live down here, but it looks like someone has before. The scariest place in the whole factory has to be this window, because of what he's about to see next.
He's coming. Oh, wait.
D-Menace is most likely walking around someone's turf. We all know where there's one creepy stranger, there's most likely more. Perhaps a whole misfit crew who doesn't take kindly to new faces, especially ones walking around with expensive camera gear waiting to get jacked. He soon suspects he's possibly being followed and decides to cut the urban exploration short before something else goes wrong. And it does. On the way out, he sees somebody stationed on the other side of a wall, like they're waiting for him. He accidentally makes a sound and the legs disappear from view. The exit is within sight and he is trying his best to creep along this wall unseen. He is tall and wearing a hat, so he's easy enough to see.
Gut, alles
Within seconds, a man stands over him, the same scary man he watched from the window. After a tense conversation, he soon learns that they are simply exploring the same abandoned place he is, and probably thought they were being followed. It's a simple misunderstanding, but I can't help but wonder if this was scripted, because at 10 minutes and 50 seconds, it looks more like D. Menace is trying not to laugh rather than truly being scared. I guess we all react different to fear, so maybe the anxiety from getting caught is what caused this nervous smile. Anyway, the two urban explorers exchange information and agree to go look at more abandoned places together someday. Tell me if you think they knew each other beforehand, because if not, this encounter would have absolutely been terrifying for both parties. YouTuber Trevor Heasley published this clip in August of 2016. The footage was on the set of Postcards, a 2008 Pasadena City College student film. He'd taken it during the film shoot at the Metropolitan State Mental Hospital. Although the cast and crew heard a lot of ruckus during filming, they didn't see anything unusual. That is, until Trevor got his camera home and watched the footage back. The abandoned state mental hospital appears quite eerie in the footage, darkened windows on a hot summer day. The footage involves lots of close-ups and long shots of the area, including some gags with the cast. Everyone seems to be having a good time on the shoot, but will what happened next haunt them? During the shoot of one scene, the vapor-thin figure of a ghost appears to be walking across the hallway right before two of the cast. Apparently completely unaware of what just crossed their path, come running through. Okay, so it probably won't haunt them, being as they weren't even aware of what was happening before their own very eyes. That is, unless the spirit somehow inhabited one of them. I think we need a follow-up with the cast and crew of Postcards, and maybe then we can solve this scary mystery. If this brown fish tongue looks a little peculiar to you, then you are absolutely right.
And it may look like an ordinary fish tongue.
The last time I checked, ordinary fish tongues shouldn't have dozens of wriggling feet on the bottom.
It's almost like a beetle, but if you look closely, it has little feet that move around.
What you are looking at is actually a common parasite among fish. It grows inside of the fish's mouth in a rather grotesque manner, first eating away the fish's tongue entirely, and then securely fastening itself in the tongue's place. The fish must now share its food with the parasite if it wants to survive. Hopefully, this clever parasite never figures out a way to somehow transition to our species. For all we know, it may just be a matter of time. When 4 teens disappeared in August of 2008 in Melbourne, Australia, a local search party discovered this found footage in November of the same year, near an abandoned hospital. Shortly after, it apparently began making rounds on Australian news outlets. At the start of the video, the boys appear to be cruising down a highway, then further down a dirt road. At one point, they exit the vehicle, and they think they hear a sound coming from the darkness.
In that area, there's sounds coming.
They approach a gate with a sign that says private property, no trespassing. They ignore it. They find a hole in the fence and decide to enter anyway. As they're walking along in the dark, they come across a red substance splattered on the ground. Regardless, they continue on, and that's where the footage ends. A walk into the darkness. They were never seen or heard from again. If you have any info on their whereabouts, please visit missingpersons.gov.au. A YouTuber named Nerdy Gamer records someone standing outside of his San Antonio home in a clown outfit with a bright red balloon. He opens the door and the two share a tense stare down before exchanging words. The stranger does not respond to warnings or even flat out threats. However, they do shuffle around for a bit each time after he speaks, which shows that they are at least contemplating what he says.
Creeping right there by my driveway, just staring there. He's been there for about 15 minutes. Yeah, you need to leave, yo. I already caught the cops. Yo, you need to leave. I'm being dead serious. I will
Finally, he grows tired of the one-sided exchange and waits for police. No follow-up was recorded after this part. So was this a skit, or did a silent clown really come bother a YouTuber at his own home? A man is asleep when his curtains draw back in a way that looks more like an invisible hand, then the wind. Shortly thereafter, a round white object that could be a head lingers around the bottom of the window and appears to gaze in. Next, a bizarre triangular object flies up in a blur directly over his sleeping form. It could be a ghost or it could be an insect. If you thought the curtains moving in the beginning was just the wind, then how do you explain this portion of the covers moving under his bed shortly before the video ends? It looks like something is crawling up next to him, but we never get to see its true form. This is one of those videos that is either completely real or scripted with no in between. The problem is I'm not sure which. A YouTuber named Lord Cryptid looks up to see a gorilla-sized creature staring at him from a short distance away. The head and shoulders are clearly defined, but it's not moving at all, so Lord Cryptid decides to get a closer look. It continues to silently regard him as he closes in. Now only a thin patch of thickets and reeds separates him from the threat before him, and when he zooms in, you're not going to believe what he sees. He is only meters away and it still looks like a humanoid, not a bear. But when the camera focuses, what was originally an astoundingly scary creature is actually little more than a tree stump. I'm including this video because I feel like it could explain many of the other similar cryptid sightings in the woods. So in the future, unless the creature actually moves, it's probably just a stump. A YouTuber named Bat Chain Puller says they were watching Game of Thrones when they noticed this little girl staring into their home with a blank expression. She does not seem to be trying to get anyone's attention and seems perfectly content with staring straight ahead into a stranger's home on Christmas, judging by the decorated tree. The YouTuber says that there is an explanation for this video, but doesn't go into any more detail. Maybe they will still remember what happened all these years later. When you enter a graveyard, you may not leave alone. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Scream Gaming writes, "This was caught in a cemetery when we were leaving. All four of us got chills at the time, and it felt like something left with us. In the short clip, the group is heading out of the driveway of the cemetery when you see a figure on the side of the road. According to the Redditor, they caught this creepy thing on video where in reality there was nothing, just grass and a telephone pole. Do you see it?" Redditor Treadway0311 does, writing, "There definitely was something there and then gone, but what was it and where did it go?" The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee is one of the most haunted hospitals on Earth. So much so that it's been officially designated as a paranormal research center on Google. Almost everyone that goes there has a paranormal experience. Take a YouTube channel called Lost Souls Paranormal for example. One of the few research teams brave enough to go exploring the haunted hospital's basement. An investigator named Bailey splits from the group, and this is what he records underground. Running footsteps are coming from all directions, and are possibly even in the same room that he is. Suddenly, the idea of ghost hunting isn't as fun as it was 5 minutes ago, and so he doesn't go any further. This is enough paranormal evidence to convince me, but let me know if you think it was his friends making the noise. Years prior, another paranormal investigator named LW Drums was close to the same spot of the hospital and experienced strange ghost activity as well.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us.
The voice of somebody who isn't there mocks the investigator with an exaggerated sigh, and a shadow appears at around this time too.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us. Something just touched my head. Ooh.
Something jabs him from behind. When he turns around, the mysterious camera goes out of focus like something is right up on the lens, and I don't know if this is a third member of the team, but at 29 seconds, a mysterious figure is definitely just sitting on the other side of the room staring at them. A YouTuber named Sand General captures the moving shadow of a mysterious creature on tape in the Phoenix desert late at night. He and his friend are cautiously driving down a dark and spooky country road when their dog starts making low whining noises that they've never heard before. Sand General stops the car and aims his phone camera. This bizarre encounter with an unknown creature is what he catches on video.
Let's get out of here.
A roaming shadow that stands out from the scenery is caught mysteriously moving from left to right. It looks like the rather large outline of some kind of desert monster waiting to ambush them, and so they turn around and get out of there fast, which is the right plan in my opinion. I would suggest that this large shadow figure is video editing, except listen to the dog. It's genuinely terrified and trying to tell them that they should be scared too.
Let's get out of here.
This list is full of stalkers, and they all seem to have one thing in common. They like to stand still outside people's homes, especially after receiving a note that said, "I'll see you here after 6 p.m. Remember, Mr. Slim." A few hours later, he heard someone or something outside his house. Camera in tow, he peered out his upper window. There was a man standing on the sidewalk below, wearing dark colors and what appeared to be a ski mask. As the boy dropped his camera to the left and then returned again back to the stalker, he found that the man had disappeared. So he did exactly what none of us would do. He raced downstairs to go outside and find the stalker, but the man was nowhere to be found. The boy said that he was starting to get worried and debated whether or not to tell his parents. Most in the comment section agree that he should, while others offer more sage advice. Next time, don't go outside. This is one of the more popular videos that many people feel is clear evidence of Bigfoot. The video looks a little too blurry for me to be sure, but I don't recognize this scene from any movie or television series, so it could very well be real. If it is real, however, my only question is why this 5-second clip is so short. Maybe this person became afraid for their life when spotted and abruptly ran for cover. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.